Have you ever felt that soul-deep connection with someone only to watch them walk into another relationship? If you're on a twin flame journey, you probably know exactly what I'm talking about. And let me tell you, you're not alone in this experience. You see, when we're dealing with twin flame relationships, we're not just talking about ordinary romantic connections. We're exploring a profound spiritual journey that often defies conventional relationship wisdom. Third-party situations in these divine partnerships serve as powerful mirrors, reflecting our deepest insecurities, attachment patterns, and areas for growth. Think about it for a moment. Isn't it interesting how these situations tend to trigger our most vulnerable spots? That's not coincidental. The universe has a funny way of using these experiences to push us toward our highest evolution. Whether you're currently watching your twin flame navigate a relationship with someone else, or you're trying to understand the deeper meaning behind past experiences, this exploration will help you see these challenges through a new lens. Let's dive deep into understanding why these situations arise, what they're really here to teach us, and how we can use them as stepping stones toward our spiritual evolution. Because, trust me, there's so much more to these experiences than what meets the eye. You know that moment when you catch your reflection unexpectedly in a store window and barely recognize yourself. That's how third-party situations often feel: jarring, unexpected, and sometimes even unrecognizable from what we thought our journey would look like. The truth is that these situations aren't random cosmic accidents or cruel universal jokes. They're more like precisely calibrated spiritual instruments designed to trigger exactly what needs healing within us. Think about how a master jeweler uses different grades of sandpaper to polish a rough diamond. The coarser grits remove the major imperfections, while the finer ones bring out the subtle brilliance. Similarly, third-party situations work on multiple levels of our consciousness, from our most obvious insecurities to our most delicate spiritual wounds. They sand away at our ego's attachment to how we think things should be, revealing the pure, unconditional love that lies beneath. Third-party situations often feel like they're breaking us apart, but they're actually creating space for divine light to pour through our cracks and transform them into something more beautiful than before. They teach us that what we perceive as damage can become our most profound source of growth and beauty. The universe doesn't send us these challenges because we're not enough. Quite the opposite. It sends them because we're ready to expand beyond our current understanding of love and connection. Each trigger, each moment of jealousy or pain is actually an invitation to dive deeper into self-discovery and spiritual awakening. These situations ask us, are you ready to love beyond conditions? Are you prepared to trust the divine plan, even when it doesn't match your human expectations? We must sometimes experience the dissolution of our expectations and attachments before we can emerge into a higher form of love. Third-party situations create this sacred, chrysalis space, a space where transformation isn't just possible, it's inevitable. Remember this: when you're facing a third-party situation, you're not just dealing with earthly relationship dynamics. you're participating in a sacred alchemical process. Every tear you shed, every moment of confusion or pain is actually transmuting lower vibrational energies into higher consciousness. You're not just learning about love, you're becoming love itself. Have you ever watched a master glassblower at work? There's this fascinating moment when they must let go of their creation, release their breath, and trust that the molten glass will take its perfect form. That's exactly what the universe asks of us when our twin flame chooses another path. It's perhaps the most exquisite paradox of the twin flame journey. Learning to love so deeply that we can completely let go. Think about this for a moment. We're conditioned from birth to believe that love means holding on, claiming, possessing. Society feeds us fairy tales about happily ever after and mine forever. But what if the highest form of love actually exists in the space between holding on and letting go? When your twin flame enters a relationship with someone else, the universe isn't punishing you. It's initiating you into a sacred mystery school of unconditional love. I remember a woman who was devastated watching her twin flame build a life with someone else. Through her tears, she told me, "Every morning I wake up feeling like someone's stealing my oxygen, but as we work together, something remarkable began to happen." She started to understand that true love isn't about ownership, it's about freedom. Just as the ocean doesn't try to possess the waves that dance upon its surface, we're called to love with that same boundless acceptance. When we truly love someone, their happiness becomes more important than our need to be the source of that happiness. It's like being given a beautiful wild bird. You can either keep it in a cage where you can see it every day, or you can open your hands and let it fly free, knowing it might never return. The real magic happens when you realize that your love doesn't diminish whether the bird stays or goes. This lesson often arrives wrapped in the most painful package imaginable. Watching your twin flame choose another partner can feel like your heart is being run through a spiritual wood chipper. But within this excruciating experience lies a precious invitation, an opportunity to transcend the human ego's need for possession and control, and step into a love so vast it requires no reciprocation to exist. Consider the way a mother loves her child as they grow and become independent. She doesn't stop loving them when they make choices different from what she'd choose for them. Her love expands to encompass their freedom to create their own path. This is the kind of love the universe is teaching us through these third-party situations. A love that says, "I love you enough to let you figure out your own journey, even when that journey leads away from me." In the depths of this teaching lies an almost mystical truth. When we truly learn to love without possession, we paradoxically become more magnetic to authentic love. It's as if the universe watches us master this lesson and says, now you're ready for the real thing. Because true twin flame union can only happen between two people who have learned to love without chains, without conditions, without the need to control or possess. Remember this, your capacity to love freely without attachment to outcome is not a sign of weakness. It's actually your greatest strength. It's the mark of a soul who has understood that love, in its purest form, is not about having or holding, but about being and becoming. This is your invitation to step into that larger love, to become so vast in your capacity to love that whether your twin flame is with you or with another becomes almost irrelevant to the love you hold for them. Can you imagine loving so purely that their choices no longer affect the steady flame of your heart? That's the freedom the universe is calling you toward. You know that moment when you're removing a splinter and the pain of extraction feels almost unbearable, but you know it's necessary for healing? That's exactly what's happening on a soul level when we face these third-party situations. The universe isn't punishing us. It's performing necessary spiritual surgery to remove the embedded splinters of abandonment, unworthiness, and fear that we've carried through lifetimes. Think about how a phoenix must feel as it burns, the excruciating transformation from solid form to ash before rebirth can occur. We too must go through this alchemical process of dissolution before we can rise in our highest form. The presence of a third party often serves as the sacred fire that reduces our ego's expectations and attachments to ash, allowing our true divine nature to emerge. What's fascinating is how these situations often mirror ancient initiation rites found in spiritual traditions worldwide. In many indigenous cultures, initiates would undergo physically and emotionally challenging ordeals to access higher spiritual truths. Our modern-day third-party situations serve a similar purpose. They're spiritual initiation chambers where our souls are tested, strengthened, and ultimately transformed. The third-party situations often push us into our darkest spaces while simultaneously applying the precise pressure needed to transform our carbon-based consciousness into something crystalline and pure. The darkness isn't meant to break us. It's meant to birth us anew. When we truly embrace this healing journey, something miraculous happens. The pain doesn't necessarily disappear, but it transforms from something that feels like it's destroying us into something that's clearly serving our highest evolution. Think about how a skilled teacher doesn't just give students the answers, but creates situations where they must discover the truth for themselves. The universe, in its infinite wisdom, operates in much the same way through karmic relationships. When your twin flame enters into a relationship with another person, it's like they're enrolling in a specially designed cosmic classroom, complete with lessons that couldn't be learned any other way, not even through direct interaction with you. Each struggle, each mistake, each moment of clarity in these karmic relationships is carefully orchestrated to build the exact spiritual muscles needed for the ultimate twin flame union. When we watch our twins navigate karmic relationships, our role isn't to rescue them or speed up the process. It's to understand that these experiences are strengthening their spiritual wings in ways that are absolutely necessary for their evolution. The beauty of this divine classroom lies in its perfect timing. Just as certain subjects in school must be mastered Before moving on to more advanced concepts, karmic relationships serve as prerequisite courses in the University of Love. Your twin might need to learn about boundaries through one relationship, authenticity through another, and self-worth through a third. Each karmic partner becomes a specialized teacher, holding space for specific lessons that will eventually contribute to the mastery required for twin flame union. What's truly fascinating is how these karmic classrooms often operate in parallel. While your twin is learning their lessons through their relationships, you're simultaneously being schooled through your reaction to watching their journey. The jealousy, fear, or anger you might feel isn't just emotional static. It's actually course material in your own spiritual curriculum. Can you love deeply enough to celebrate your twin's growth, even when it happens through another's influence? Can you trust the divine timing enough to know that each lesson, each relationship is moving you both closer to union, not further apart? Remember this: just as every great story has its necessary plot twists and character development, every twin flame journey includes these karmic chapters. They're not detours from the path, they are the path. Each karmic relationship your twin experiences is like a sacred scroll containing wisdom that will eventually be brought into your ultimate union. Trust that the divine knows exactly what curriculum each soul needs to complete before graduation into union consciousness. You know what's fascinating about the twin flame journey? It's not really about reaching that perfect happily ever after moment. It's about becoming who you were always meant to be. And sometimes those challenging third-party situations are exactly what we need to get there. When we face these situations with grace and understanding, something magical happens. We start seeing beyond the surface level pain and drama. Instead of viewing third parties as obstacles or threats, we begin recognizing them as divine teachers who've shown up right on time to help both twins evolve. Remember, your twin flame connection exists far beyond the physical realm. No external circumstance, person, or situation can truly break what Source has joined together. While seeing your twin with someone else might feel like your heart is being squeezed in a vice, this experience often becomes the catalyst for your deepest healing and most profound spiritual growth. At the end of the day, third-party situations aren't here to break you. They're here to make you stronger, wiser, and more aligned with your highest self. By embracing these experiences as opportunities for growth rather than obstacles to happiness, you transform what could be a source of bitterness into a catalyst for beautiful personal transformation.